Vanessa had learned to live in the shadows. After the divorce, she moved in with her aunt, took a job at a small department store, and tried to create a life that felt ordinary. But ordinary was impossible. Every morning on the bus, every face in the crowd reminded her of what she had lost. And every night, she found herself obsessively scrolling through social media, watching Richard and his new fiancée, Nellie. She told herself it was curiosity, concern, maybe even guilt, but deep down, she knew it was more than that. She was watching the life that could have been hers, and fearing what she knew was coming. Nellie's life was bright, but fragile. She adored Richard. He was charming, attentive, thoughtful. He seemed perfect in every way. He sent her flowers on random days, remembered the tiniest details about her likes, and made her feel chosen, special, protected. At first, the thought of being loved like that was intoxicating. But slowly, subtle patterns emerged. Small questions about friends, the way he corrected her tone, the way he insisted on controlling details she thought were hers to choose. Nellie dismissed them at first, convincing herself she was imagining things. But a creeping unease stayed with her, a feeling that someone was always watching, always listening, always ready to catch her in a mistake. Vanessa observed all of this from a distance, her eyes trained, her mind racing. She remembered every step, every comment, every look Richard had ever given her. She knew the warning signs. She knew the charm hiding manipulation. She had lived it, and she knew Nellie was walking into the same trap she had barely escaped. But warning her wasn't simple. Nellie wouldn't listen to the crazy ex-wife, and Richard made sure to maintain the illusion of perfection. Vanessa became a ghost in Nellie's world. She watched from cafes, from park benches, from passing cars. She memorized Richard's habits, his schedule, the way he liked things organized. Every interaction he had with Nellie made her stomach tighten, like watching a slow-motion disaster unfold. Every smile Nellie gave, Richard felt like a countdown to heartbreak. Meanwhile, Nellie began noticing small, unsettling things. A misplaced object at home, an offhand comment Richard made, the way he asked too many questions about her day. One evening, while preparing for a dinner party, she found herself second-guessing her own choices. She realized she couldn't make a decision without Richard's subtle approval. She laughed it off at first, convincing herself it was care, love, but a whisper in her mind kept repeating, "Something is wrong." The tension grew as Vanessa's interventions became more direct. She tried leaving notes, calling anonymously, finding ways to plant seeds of doubt in Nellie's mind. Each time, Richard seemed one step ahead, protecting the perfect image he had built. He was always calm, always charming, always convincing. His control wasn't loud or violent, it was quiet, methodical, and deeply manipulative. He had trained both women in silence and fear, and he believed he had mastered the game. One night, Vanessa followed Richard and Nellie to a restaurant for dinner. She watched from a nearby table, hidden in shadows. The way Richard's hand brushed against Nellie's, the way she leaned into him, the way he smiled in public while his eyes flickered with cold calculation. Vanessa felt a rush of adrenaline and dread. She realized that Nellie was beginning to see cracks in the illusion, but she didn't yet know the full truth. She wasn't ready. And if she wasn't careful, the warning would come too late. The days that followed were tense, calculated, and almost unbearable. Vanessa began taking risks, leaving cryptic messages, creating small situations where Nellie could notice Richard's controlling patterns. Nellie gradually started questioning reality. She began noticing his subtle manipulations, the way he would praise her when she agreed, and silently punish her when she didn't. She realized the perfect life she thought she was stepping into wasn't real, and she realized the danger she was in. Fear grew alongside understanding, and fear made her sharp. She became more aware of every detail, every nuance in Richard's behavior. Finally, the night before the wedding, everything came to a head. Nellie had pieced together enough to confront the truth. Vanessa approached her, revealing carefully, urgently, everything she had lived through. The pieces clicked. The manipulation, the control, the silent threats, the perfection that was anything but. Nellie understood, not in disbelief, but in a rush of clarity. Richard had planned to trap her, just as he had trapped Vanessa. The perfect life he promised was a cage. The confrontation wasn't dramatic in the way movies often show. There were no shouting matches, no sudden violence. Instead, it was quiet, tense, precise. Every movement mattered. Every word carried weight. And then, for the first time, the two women acted together, using Richard's own manipulations against him. It was a chess game, carefully executed. Every instinct, every memory, every small insight Vanessa had gained over the years guided them. Richard walked into the room, confident as ever, unaware that for once, he was no longer the one controlling events. The trap closed silently. No screams, no chaos. Just the realization that the women he had underestimated the women he had believed to be weak, were stronger, smarter, and free. Vanessa and Nellie stepped into their lives beyond Richard's control. They had survived his mind games. They had reclaimed their power. They had changed the story. Because sometimes, the scariest man isn't the one who shouts, who hits, or who makes threats. The scariest is the one who smiles, who plans, and who hides in plain sight. And sometimes, survival comes from seeing clearly, acting boldly, and trusting the person who once seemed like an enemy.